G'day guys, this is Jay here, back with a chat with Jay, all the way from Australia. Kangaroos, koalas, Steve Irwin impersonations. Remove your mask, write your story. I enjoy what I do. As I said last time, I had a lovely lady, Soraya, on from Thailand. Now I'm going to get on my plane and go to Oregon in the USA. And a great friend of mine I met, and she's a lovely lady, Jacquie Elliott. She's a life, spiritual, and relationship certified coach. Done a lot of podcasts, wrote a book. I mean, and we've been talking for a little while. We were really excited to get this interview happening. I mean, it's such a wonderful thing to get to know a lot of different people in different, I guess, elements and aspects of life. It's great. Doesn't matter what background you've got or where you're from, and it's just great to get the lessons, the messages, and the gifts out because people need to hear from so many people. Jacquie, welcome. Finally, we've done it.
Yes.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being.
Jim.
No, it's gonna be a great chat. So let's get started. What do you tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us all
Well,
about it?
as you said, I'm a certified life, relationship, and spiritual coach. And I've written this book called The Silent Bully, A Journey from Abusive Brain Chatter to Self-Love. And the subject that I'm most passionate about is something that I coined called abusive brain chatter.
Yep.
And so many people can relate to that bully in the brain. And we normalize it. And that's what I did for much of my life. I went through the journey myself. So the book is kind of a memoir, my journey, and then how I've helped others to navigate that. I'm at the point now when I hear people say negative things about themselves, my heart just hurts because I know how even just looking on the Zoom and saying, my God, I don't look good, or I should, whatever. It hurts us. It's like emotional abuse. And that's kind of the difference between my book and other books. And we're all saying the same thing. Here, let's be
Hmm.
real. We're all talking about self-love.
Yep.
And that's important. But the thing is, how do you get to self-love? And what does self-love look like? And that's why I decided to use that harsh term, abusive brain chatter. I know people say, "Oh, I don't like when you say that." I said, "But it is. It's belittling, it's bullying, it's gaslighting. If you're an addict, it's isolating." And many people who are addicted, alcoholics and food addicts and gambling addicts, they have an extra strong silent bully. They have abusive brain chatter that's really strong because if they drink, if they use their substance to cope, then the bully gets even louder, right? Oh, you fell off the wagon, you're so stupid, you might as well drink some more. And there's this whole loop of negative self-talk.
It's okay. I'm blown away already because I know I used to do a lot of it. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes you fall into a trap of going back into it, and I think the with Journey of a Whitefeather, it's very interesting that you with when you talk about all these negative self talk and negativity in your life. Once with the Journey of a Whitefeather, when I did have my spiritual breakdown or spiritual awakening, however you want to put it, you sort of come to be aware of all this. And I think the greatest thing you've given now is awareness, but also a speciality of, okay, you can, I mean, people have to accept that they do it. And I think that people either go one way or the other. They either go, oh, I shouldn't be saying that, or they do say it without any awareness. And I think what you're bringing today is being aware of it. Don't be ashamed of it, but be aware that that is hurting you, and I think that's where I'm at the time. And it's lovely to talk. I mean, as I said, divine timing on this, man. It's great, eh? So I talk really Australian. So if you so if I go off with my Aussie accent, but I think it's a wonderful thing. I think you're giving people comfort in if they do say it. I mean, as I said, we do have those days, but I think what you're teaching there is to accept what it is and have awareness and have accountability, but also be gentle with yourself. Am I not wrong?
Oh, no, absolutely. In fact, the program I teach are the ABCs so that you remember really easy. Awareness, which is what you said, aware that you're talking to yourself this way, and really be aware of what emotional abuse looks like. What is emotional
Or
abuse?
what is it? You tell me. What's emotional abuse? And I want to know also, and also the people who are watching want to know. Emotional abuse usually comes from someone else, but you can do it to yourself. But we want to know. I guess what I do is, and Greg Riley and Michael McNair, my coaches, they say to go back and find out where it started. What's your philosophy on this?
Well, I talk about the aware, believe, and challenge, and the challenge part, which is the C, you go back and you challenge it and you figure out where it came from.
Right.
But the first step is, like you said, be aware, and you know that saying self-defeating things is belittling. I was married for a while to an emotional abuser, and what I learned is that I took my emotional abuser with me when I left the marriage. So I could point at him all I wanted, but the things that I was saying in my head that kept me in that marriage were abusive. You're never going to be able to find anybody else. You deserve this. You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. And those are the not good enoughs are the things that really hurt. They hurt our soul. And so the second part that you talked about, the spiritual, and I'm glad you brought that up because this is a spiritual book. It's not a religious book. And I honor and respect everybody's path to that inner voice. And that can be Buddhist, Jewish, Catholic, whatever it is.
Yep.
But what I say to people is you have to be able to find your way to that voice and in order to change the chatter. For example, I couldn't change my own chatter. By the time it got so bad, I was 42 years old and I was in the bed eating compulsively, watching TV, saying horrible things to myself. And there was nothing in me that I could draw upon to change that chatter. So the second important step is to find something to believe in, find a higher voice. And
Mm.
I offer suggestions in the book. Meditation is really great, but finding that spirit, because I believe if you're in a religion or whatever is your belief, if you found a spirit that says mean things to you or that is a punishing God or that you haven't found your higher power, your higher self, because within you lives this beautiful soul, and that's what we need to tap into.
What about this? So, how about this one? It was well, I had a bit of an epiphany. I talked about it on a chat with Jay and the Robin Hood effect the other day, and I just go back to having fun. Now, I think that what I say to people is it's good to trigger a good trigger and a very good trigger in this way. Instead of all these trigger this, trigger that, everyone gets triggered by bad stuff and heightened and all that kind of garbage, which is fine. But we focus on it and it annoys me. Why don't we get something that made us happy? Like I've got a lot of stuff from childhood that I'm still a collector of He-Man toys and collectibles and professional wrestling. Makes me happy. So that's where you get your vibe up, and I think that's what you're talking about. If you can get out of that vibe, which you have, which is awesome, you could get that. So I think those things really give you some a start to something to believe in, and maybe grounding as well. What would you think about those two suggestions?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean that's self-love. In fact, the workbook, the work in my book, I talk about not doing work or homework. I call it self-love work. And if going out for the day and just saying, I think I've hit my max. I'm at, I'm at 100%. I'm just going to go out and play. Um, that is wonderful. Now, what happens to a lot of people who have abusive brain chatter is their chatter says, You can't go out and play. How can you go out and play? You haven't worked enough. You have to do A, B, C, and D to go out and play because that's lazy. That's when we get into trouble. And that's when we have to do the C of the ABCs, which is challenge our core belief. And somewhere you were told that you have to work really hard in life and you're not allowed to enjoy life,
Yep.
and that making money is really important and more important than your own self, your own self journey.
Yep.
So,
I
so
agree with you. Yes.
yeah, and so what I do for myself is sometimes I'll hear the voice and I'll say, okay, like especially writing my book, that voice, I mean, here I'm writing about this book, and then my voice comes up and stands behind me and says, "You're going to write that? Oh, they're not going to, who's going to read this?" I have all of
How,
these.
how much that happens, Jackie? It's amazing that we live in that society, and especially when and I think you're really fighting, say the black dog and the white dog, or the however you want to put the white wolf, black wolf, however you want to put it, because you really become when you get that awareness and find that superpower like you just did, you're really
Yeah,
finding it. I think and I'll put in just to add. I mean when you said we have to work and all that stuff, obviously a balance between being excited about something and actually taking a step back. And I think people have to. There's a damn fine line between that, because you lose yourself. And then look, as I said, this is relevant to me totally what you're saying.
right. And so it is, because that is the most important thing, is staying on top of it. And what I say is it's like a abusive brain chatter and fear, it comes from a lot of places. And here's a funny thing, Jay. It comes from a place of wanting to help you. See, when I have my
Okay.
clients, I do a lot of talking to that voice. We do a lot of work. And usually what happens is that voice says, well, I don't want them to make a mistake. I don't want them to screw up. I don't want her to, she's writing this book and she's going to be, people are going to laugh at her. No one's going to read it and she's going to feel awful. That's kind of what it's saying, to me, you're
Yeah.
going to feel
Yep. Yep.
terrible.
Yep.
And so I have to stop and acknowledge that, um, you know what? I hear that you're trying to protect me. I understand that. But I really want to do this. So then I tap into my higher source and I say, okay, why am I writing this book? And my higher source, which, I call my higher power, um, says to me, you have a message and I'll help you write this book. So don't listen to that voice. We've got this. You've got this, Jackie. And then the third part is the core belief. I have to say, challenge that core. Why can't I write a book like this? My core belief is that I'm not good enough to write a book like this, and that I'm an imposter, right? That's what keeps coming up. Oh, you're an imposter. And then I have to say to myself, wait a minute. I am a life coach. I've trained a lot of people on this method. I've used this method. I've made a complete transformation from who I was, before my 40s to who I am today. And I've gotten validation about that. So I have something to say, and so does my higher power. So thank you, but I don't need to listen to you today. So go away. And I'm very gentle. I
Oh,
literally say, I'm very gentle. Thank you, though. Thank you for coming. I'm very
grateful.
gentle.
Yep. Yep.
And I just, and then I continue, but it takes work. I have to do the work to listen, tap in, breathe if I need to, challenge it, and then send it away. And
Having
then
the
bring in my love.
having the guidance, I think, is big, because we can go through that. And I know you're talking exactly the way I went through things. And look, I at the moment, as I said, it's great. It's divine timing that you're talking about this, because you get to a point where you actually feel and you can actually speak to that higher voice. I mean, I always say it's from head to heart. All right, because you're always living in your head, which is your old self, and then you're going and you're actually opening those forbidden doors to get to your heart. And it's a big thing. And then you're fighting those, I'll call it demons for that, for use of a better word, right?
Yeah.
And then that really opens up another can of worms. Can I ask you, when you get people to actually go into their heart and people are scared to be themselves, let's be honest. I'm, I might be a public speaker and all this, MC and run the Village People Tribute and all the other stuff, but that is part of me. But the journey of a Whitefeather, this book like yours, is me. So exposing myself is huge because of the fact the way we were brought up or whatever happened was influenced that way. And we are breaking patterns and it's damn hard. So where
It
do you
is.
and just sorry to interrupt there. What I wanted to ask you was regards to what do you do when people's things come up? Like, do you work with them yourself, or do you have like other practitioners you can go on? Like, if I had someone like now that you and me have connected, I've gone, hang on, Jacquie could be the one to talk to. I reckon. Do you have that kind of thing, or do you do everything yourself? And how do you cope with when people do go into some? Oh, I guess they don't really cope with that true inner voice.
Well, that's why I became a spiritual coach. I was first a life coach and a relationship coach. And then I decided, as I was seeing clients, what was happening is I wasn't able to get them from here into here. And this is where the change happens. If you understand that your change, the best mind can't outthink the worst mind,
Yeah, that's
So
right. Yeah.
you have to come in here. And this is where the change happens. And I have a lot of clients who've, been to therapy and not that I'm dissing therapy at all. There is definitely a place for therapy. Therapy is archaeology and digging through the ruins, but the life coaching is about stepping forward now, architecture, how are we going to build your life? And so what was happening is I would see these clients and they weren't making a lot of progress. And I felt
Mm.
that what was missing was I just wasn't able to help them quiet their mind and then find that inner voice. So I learned the tools to do spiritual coaching. And it's not, woo woo, spiritual coaching,
I got it. Yep,
you, you
absolutely.
know,
I
I,
agree with
I
you here.
mean,
Yep.
it's
Absolutely.
I adapt it to whatever your needs are. And if you need sage burned and if you need lavender, then we use that. But
Absolutely.
the idea is I take people, we talk about what their background is in religion. Were they a lot of people, when I mention the word spirituality, or we need to, they go, oh, no, I went to church and no, I don't believe in God and I don't want to believe in God.
See, this is very interesting. Sorry to interrupt. It's a
Yeah.
great conversation because I think that the spirituality word, the woo woo, which is your 100. I sat there going, I say that all the time. I think spirit is within you, and I think it's been very. I won't use the word I usually use in Australia, but we say it's been played with a little bit, and I think that they push a narrative of spiritualities like witchcraft or all that kind of stuff, where it's actually spirit within yourself, and that's exactly what you're trying to bring out in, and that's exactly what I try to do with my motivation and hype and being a hype man. I'm going to be your number one supporter. I'm going to be in the front row when you're playing guitar and go, yes, you did really well. This is what we're going to do to get you better, but keep that hype up, which is exactly what you're doing. Want to do a big shout out to our friends and supporters at Liberty Bullion. Sammy and the team are the best gold, silver, and platinum traders in Australia. Make good choices, give them a call. Back to the show.
Yeah, well, it would be exactly. And so some of the work I would do is I would say to you, say for instance, you're my client, I would say to you, okay, so let's just take a moment to drop in. You say to me, I have this resentment. At work, my boss is overworking me and, blah, blah, blah. And, we could talk about it all we want. But, until we really drop in, I'd say, okay, let's drop in. And we take a few moments to do some breathing exercises. And then I might say to you, so where in your body are you feeling that resentment? And you might say, I'm feeling it in my chest, it's just here. And I would say, okay, what color What color is it? And you might say it's red, it's a bright red. And I'd ask, well, what shape is it? So you see, you're out of your head now, right? I've got you out of your head and you're kind of going internal here and you're soothing yourself, with your breathing and you're tapping in. And then we might look for another image or another color that can help you. And we might even talk to that part. So let me hear about your resentment, Jay. What is your resentment? What does your resentment want to tell you? What is that red, bright light trying to tell you? What does it need? So we kind of get in, we start giving you what you need so that you can draw upon that when it happens again. And so that's the level of spirituality. It's really kind of going in. And if you believe in God, then we take it even a step further. We might say, you know, uh, what is your higher power telling you right now? What do you want to ask your higher power? What do you need from your higher power? And so you're out of your head, you're in your heart, you're calm, your breathing is calm, and you're finding answers.
Oh,
And finding
it's amazing. It's amazing. It really is. You're doing wonderful. I can see you doing some wonderful work. You're an angel from above. Seriously.
Thank
No,
you.
I did. Yeah, I mean, as I said, divine timing on what we're talking. I'm going to ask you a little bit of a harder question in some way. What about the negative Nancy's and not the haters, but the people that question it? Because we know what's happening in the planet these days. They're trying to push us away from ourselves and trying to and we're the warriors coming in to help us to help people reconnect with their heart. And it's exactly what you're doing. Whatever superpower you've got, me with the hype and yourself, the spirituality and then the calmness, but we're all trying to get that people to love themselves again. And it's a
Right.
connection between what we're doing. So it might be you could do better than me in some cases because you're connected to the person, or I could. It's not a competition, but it's just the way the journey works. What problems have you seen, or have you had any issues? I'm sure you haven't, but have you seen it in the community with it being the way it is? Because there's a lot of stuff I could talk about in a minute. But what have you seen? Have you seen a change in that at all? Or have you seen people being resistant to it or pushing back against it and saying it's crap or whatever it may be? Have you?
Well,
What do you think?
yeah, I think in fact, I had a wonderful discussion with a gentleman who was an intellectual, and he was asking me, we were at a dinner party, and he was asking me about spirituality, and he was trying to explain to me that it's really the part of my brain that's doing this and this part of my brain, and rationally, there is no such thing. And I said to him, uh, you may say that, and you may not have felt it, but I have. And that's what I help people do. And I'm not telling people what to believe. I just know that when I tap in, I feel better and I'm better to people. Like you said, the world right
Abs-
now is awful. When you love yourself, when you find your soul, that's one of the things I go on a journey, help people go on a journey to
mm,
find their original soul. Like at what age did you lose it? At what age did you
that's
cover it up?
amazing. Yes,
And
amazing.
so
Yes.
I help them learn. And of course, it's all symbolic. I say, you don't have to believe this. Don't believe in what we're doing. Don't believe in the soul, but just go with me. And it feels good. Just go with where it's feeling good.
People don't
And
want to do
then,
that though, Jack. Well, it's just the problem. I mean, as I said, I'm just going devil's advocate because I mean, seeing you now, see the white aura around you. I don't see auras, but it's white. It's white angel aura as far as I'm concerned. I can already see it. You're an angel from above to help people on that journey, give them the wings to find themselves. I think the big thing I want to ask you, and sorry to butt in. This is an amazing conversation. It really is. You're an amazing lady. Um, Losing yourself usually comes at a child's age, doesn't it? And they usually go back. Would you say they regress back to say, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 or something, or do you think, or maybe even 10 years old? Do you find What do you find? Can I ask you? Because I mean, a lot of people will say they'll go because then the inner child stuff comes in, and then they go focusing on the bad stuff that happened to a kid instead of what you're saying. Look at it, acknowledge it, and let's move. Let's use it to empower ourselves. What do you think about that?
Well, most people that I've taken, there's been one person who couldn't find their soul. They regressed even further, and that was okay. But most people, find it at a young age. And we do the meditation that I lead them on is to, we kind of go back with our higher power, our spirit. We're going back, and then we find where it was. Where was that light? And, for me, I found it sitting in a closet when I was 3 years old.
Oh
That's where
wow.
my light, that's where my lights kind of was the strongest. And then after that, I felt it dimming. So, for example, what we would do is just go back there and then um, through this process, we would bring it back to who we are now. And I believe, to where you are now. And so now it's yours. So now you don't have anyone to blame. Jay, you were talking about all those bad experiences, and
Yep.
I had very traumatic experiences with
Yep.
my mother's attempting suicide and sexual abuse and all
Yep.
kinds of things. But but now when I bring that little Jackie back, that little soul, it's mine now, and it's mine to nourish and to take care of, which means that I don't, if I hold resentments and I hate people and I do bad things, I'm hurting my soul.
Yeah,
So
100%. 100%.
everything I do now is about what is going to hurt my soul and what is going to support my soul. So a lot of people ask me, resentments like, how do you forgive people? I mean, if people have harmed, people love to hang on to resentments and
Mm.
not forgive. And I say that when I think of a resentment and I visualize my little soul gets dark. But when I think about forgiveness and letting go, it gets white and bright again. And so that's my job now. My job is to do that. My job is to challenge those old beliefs that told my soul that I was not good enough or that I wasn't pretty enough. My job is to tell that soul now, you're beautiful. You're a beautiful soul. What you look like on the outside no longer matters. What you project is what matters now. I mean, I'm 73 years old and I feel that I don't have much more time left, that I want all of my time to be about giving, about nourishing this beautiful soul. And and that's what I do. I don't, I don't focus on negative things. It's very hard with the political climate right now, that's happening in America. And that is probably my greatest challenge. But if I come from a place of love in my soul, it always just like, right.
Anyway, I tell you the other thing was what I that yeah, I know, yeah, we're shocking down here too. The political stuff's ridiculous, and but the thing is that really heightened me in a way where that's where the Robin Hood effect came for me. And I'm not trying to save everyone like Robin Hood, but it's having an awareness. If I can give the gift of awareness to people, it's not a case of, and as you said, we're totally different, but we're doing the same thing. And it's basically waking people up. If I can say to people and they can trust my authenticity and trusted space, which you've got, which both of us have got, and
Yes.
I go, look, this is what's happening in the world. Have awareness. This is Jay from the Robin Hood effect. They go, Robin Hood, what did he stand for? Taking the rich, give to the poor. But if you look at it deeper, it's about getting back his spirit. And that's what Robin Hood was. That's for me, that's how Robin Hood stood for. He stood up for the little people because we know what's going on. We're not trying to fight them. We're trying to give power, bring the power, as you said, back to here. And that's what I'm trying to do. And by awareness, I mean, there's going to be stuff that people don't like, but if that wakes them up and go, hang on a minute, what the hell am I doing? And then wakes up and then go, oh, Jay's got, oh, he's got all these great people. Oh, Jackie in America. Oh, from Orioles. Well, I'd love to see her. So that wakes people up. If that's our job to be leaders in there, I think we're going to go all right.
Yeah. Oh, I love that Robin Hood metaphor. I do. I do, and I love your scarf and that whole look. It's a,
Thank
it's
you.
a,
Thank you.
it's a great metaphor. What is my Robin Hood? What is my Robin Hood moment? What is my belief? I mean, I call it random acts of kindness.
Yeah,
Where
absolutely.
that's
Yes.
one of the assignments that I give people when they start feeling like a victim or something. I say, okay, this week I'd like you to go out and do 5 random acts of kindness, and you get a bonus point if you don't get caught doing it.
That's
And
great.
trust me, that is really, really hard. Going and weeding the neighbor's lawn or
I
moving
agree.
out
I
there.
agree with you. It's
You
like,
know,
I agree with you. It's like, look, I think the younger generation have really they have to be bribed or have to think about being kind or being a good person. I think that good people also, it's been generated over the last say 15 years that we have really struggled because of social media and ego and all and the masculine energy overall. Get it right. It's overall not we've always got masculine and feminine energy that is pushed upon us, and we're fighting that to come back. And I think that we've lost true gratitude and true kindness is just going, "G'day, mate. How you going?" You go and say good morning to someone, they'll look at you and go,
right.
you've done it. I'm sure you've done it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I live in Mexico half the year. And the beautiful thing about the Mexican culture is that they are so friendly. Buenos dias, buenos tardes, buenas noches, that they are and I love that connection. It feeds my soul. Again, like you said, even about the play, whatever feeds your soul is what is important to do because that gives back. And that's why it's so important. This message is of self-love is so important because if I can talk to myself that way, then I can talk to other people that way. And I can have resentments to other people. And I always say there's no space in my life for resentments. I mean, I have let go of a lot of resentments, and people say to me, how could you let go of that resentment? Here's what they did to you. I can't, how can you let go of that? And I say, because I can't love myself unless I let go of that resentment. And I can't quiet that that talk, that abusive brain chatter. And without having a loving voice that I can always call on. And that's what you and I are teachers of, just always having that loving source to call upon so that you can uh, be your authentic self. You can live who you really are when you
And be
love
honest
yourself.
about it, and just be honest about it, I think, in a lot of ways.